that is what you just shared is significant, and is something that people don't talk about. And because people say, "Oh, how do you work in this power?" So I mean that is one key nugget you shared. But eventually, this is after his passing. It seemed like as though you tapped into a mantle or something.
Yes.
I remember you sharing, with me privately, when you were saying that you also discovered that certain things came on you when you began to honor him in his death.
Okay.
Because I asked you, does he not have any materials, blah, blah, blah. And you were telling me that, after his death, you started putting some of these tapes together and things, and you want to share a bit about that?
Okay, so I knew that the dimensions I had were not enough for certain classes of results like he was having.
Yes.
One of them is really breakthrough.
Okay.
And I wanted that. Deliverance always causes breakthroughs.
Yes.
Because the hindrance to the promise arriving is they're just basically demons and forces of darkness. Once you take them out, the result is instant.
Yes.
So I knew I didn't have it like that. I had the one to stir up hunger, intimacy, prayer, power, and so on and so forth, the prophetic ministerial dimension.
Yes.
But that one, I really wanted it. At the end of somebody praying, they need results.
Yes.
If they don't have results, they are frustrated. Yes. So when he passed, and I knew that it wasn't on me like it was on him, I began to confess. All right? I've not said this part, but I began to confess. Sometimes people hear me when I'm ministering say, as it was on my father, it is upon me. So I began to energize the consciousness in my heart that as it was on him, so it is on me, and greater.
Amen.
So meditation was part of the process.
Yes.
Then I began to intentionally honor his legacy. Yeah, I would talk about him. What you talk about appears. So I'm not just talking about him, I'm talking about the dimensions that rested on him. When I'm honoring him, meeting after meeting, I was doing that consistently. Several meetings, I still do it. Then I also began to give intentionally to my mother, but I say his wife.
Wow.
Intentionally. Not my mother now.
Mother, but
his wife. Yes. So I began to give intentionally, a portion of everything that comes, through honorariums and seeds and all that kind of stuff. There's a percentage forever till I see Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah, that is going consistently. And I was just obeying it. And then, of course, preserving also his legacy. So I began to reprint some of the books that were out of print. Just basically, just honor the legacy, basically, and just trusting the Lord that this thing, I knew it was not a blood biological thing, it's a spiritual thing. Yes. A person can be born by blood and not born by,
not inherit
the thing.
You can live in the same house
and
still not.
And that's so sad. It happens a whole lot.
Yes.
So I knew I would know when it lands, but right now it has not landed. When it lands, I will know.
So, are you saying right now it hasn't landed?
No.
Okay.
Okay. No, I know when it landed.
Okay.
2 years ago, May.
Yes.
I went for a meeting, and you don't minister and 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 people are shouting, "Leave me alone." That's not normal in the average, even Pentecostal power meetings.
Yes.
I've seen people scream, shout, impartations.
Yes.
But demons, they don't really react in many meetings. So now imagine 10 of them all shouting at the same time.
Leave me alone.
That was strange.
Okay.
The next Friday, 10 of them again.
Yes.
The next Friday or Saturday, it was about 25.
Wow.
This was in a university in Ibadan.
Yes.
Then the next meeting, there were about 70 cases.
Leave me alone.
Sir, it was like some of these zombie movies.
Yes.
Very violent.
Wow.
July of that year, I believe, it was about one of the days, about 120 cases.
Wow.
Yeah. They literally count them.
And how many people at this meeting, if 120 people are shouting?
Oh, no. Sometimes in thousands, 3,000, 4,000 in Port Harcourt.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes 2,000. In that meeting, maybe 2,000 or so. So the whole front is full of all kinds of funny manifestations. Yeah, very funny manifestations. So I knew, oh man, this thing has landed. So I went online.
Yes.
That video is still on YouTube. I went online. It was exciting. I don't have words to describe it. I went online and I said I was going to do a healing and deliverance, outreach. Let me see what will happen in people's homes.
What year was this?
This is 2 years ago. July.
Just 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2023.
Yes. So, and all over in people's hostels, in universities, in homes, all over, people were vomiting. They were writing it in the comments.
Deliverances.
I just finished vomiting now. I just finished, stuff like that.
How many people showed up online?
The views are maybe at least 15 or so, 15,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but I just did that as a trial to see what will happen, if it will happen online. And from that time till now, we've seen those things